Welcome to Salvador Mountain. Join me as I explore some of the most remote places in Portugal. In this episode, I'll be following an old mountain trail between the historical villages of Peña Garcia and Salvador in the Castelo Branco region. Sit back and enjoy. I've left my car there and my good friend Alex is going to drive me to pick it up later on. You can see Peña Garcia Lake down there, the sun rising behind it. Beautiful. So I'm starting the walk now. Sun's just coming up. I'm armed with toilet roll in case nature calls, which I think it's going to in about 10 minutes. So I'm just walking up this first hill and the sun should be rising just as I reach the top of here. So it's a really beautiful walk, this one. I discovered it about a year ago and I've only done it once so far. I'm going to try and do the whole thing without using Google Maps, which for the first half of the walk is very easy because I'm just walking along the ridge of the mountain, and then towards the end, as I'm making up my way back to our land, the whole thing turns into a maze of tracks that all join up in different places, and that's usually where I would pull my phone out for Google Maps, but I'll try and go without this time, make it a bit more interesting. And it's just me today. My dogs would usually come with me on a hike like this, but when I left the house this morning I couldn't see them. They slept outside last night. And yeah, they weren't there when I was leaving, so they missed their opportunity. But yeah, they love hikes like this, so I'll be sure to take them on the next one. Monsanto, and my land is just over there somewhere, and this is the mountain here that I'm walking along. So it's really nice to be able to get out and do walks like this. I have a 4-month-old baby at home, so at the moment it's not very easy to get out. But making these videos is a good excuse. So to begin with, on this channel, the hikes are going to be shorter ones like this, but as time goes on, I'll start to do longer hikes and camping trips and things like that. And in the not too distant future, within the next year, we're going to get goats, and I'll be taking the goats out to beautiful places as well to graze. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Man, it's so beautiful here. I feel so lucky to be able to just drive 15 minutes from my place and be able to walk along an incredibly beautiful mountain ridge where I know I'm not going to see anyone. It's totally quiet. It's just incredible. One of the things I most love about this part of Portugal is that it's the most remote part. The population density here is insanely low, I think, compared to almost anywhere else in Europe. And it's just such a privilege to be able to enjoy these places without crowds of people around. And I mean, you're seeing this place at its worst time because it's so dry. It hasn't rained in, I don't know, nearly 2 months. So all the little streams and rivers have dried up, and they won't be flowing again until after it rains, which hopefully it'll rain, I don't know, in 3 weeks from now, realistically. And one day in the future I'll do this walk for you again, and you'll get to see all the little streams and rivers. Man, it's absolutely beautiful then. Look at this. The sunrise coming up over the crest of the mountain. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Oh man. So it's one bit of a slog now to reach the top where the highest point of this mountain is. And when I get up there, I'll get my drone out and get some cool footage for you so you can see things from a different perspective. Well, I hope you enjoyed that drone footage. I'm not exactly sure how well it would have come out, but I'll check when I get home. So this is where the walk starts to turn into an endless maze of tracks. So I'm just going to go with what I remember for now, but I'll probably end up getting lost and having to get Google Maps out to help me out. I'm going to go this way. This area is just so rugged. I love it. Just trees as far as the eye can see. I mean, about 10 years ago, I did a cycling trip from England to Beijing in China, and I actually ended up getting the Trans-Siberian Railway for quite a lot of Russia, but I did all of Europe, part of Russia, and then Mongolia, and then my original plan was to cycle from Beijing down to Vietnam, but I was having such a hard time in China. Police kept pulling me over, making life really difficult for me, telling me I couldn't cycle on these roads and couldn't camp in this place. And after about a week of cycling south from Beijing, I decided that with all the hassle I was getting, China just wasn't worth it. So I ended up getting a bus pretty much all the way down through China, and then just cycling the last tiny bit in Vietnam. But yeah, that trip really ignited something in me, and that's how I ended up down in Portugal. I met a man on that trip called Frank, and he was about 60, and he had cycled, I met him in Mongolia, and he had cycled basically the same route that I had all the way from Germany. He had been about 3 or 4 days ahead of me. I think we worked out that we had even camped in some of the same spots. And I met him there, and we cycled across the Gobi Desert together. And I remember him asking me what I wanted to do after I'd finished with the cycling trip. And I told him that I didn't want to go back to a normal life, that I wanted to live a life that was close to nature, and I wanted to try and live off the land and live in a sustainable way. And he said, "Oh, you mean like permaculture?" Anyway, I didn't know what permaculture was, but I looked it up, and I thought, oh yeah, this seems like the kind of thing I'm interested in. So then I did a permaculture course in Spain, where I met an Israeli guy who lived in this area, and I came to stay with him for a little while, and I just fell in love with this part of Portugal. So after a few years of going back and forth to England and working and trying to find the right piece of land, I ended up down here. The one good thing about not having the dogs with me is that it makes it much more likely that we'll see a fox or a stoat or something like that. Actually, when I was walking this walk last time with my dogs, I did see a fox, really big one actually, one of the biggest I've seen here. So it must have been doing all right. And the dogs chased it, and then I didn't see it again. Look at that. You can probably actually see my land from here, but I can't tell where it is from here. But look at that. So I'm now coming down from the mountain. It's a little bit steep, but nice to be going downhill. So just up here, there's an abandoned settlement. Must be well over 100 years old. It's a big group of schist tiny little schist houses, and with a bread oven, like a community bread oven. I don't know when it was abandoned, but most of the roofs are falling in and most of the buildings have just been engulfed in brambles, and it's really incredible. So I'm going to go into the village. I love to imagine what it was like for people living here 100 years ago or more, living in these tiny little houses, like one room each, and you know that they're individual because there's no connecting doors between them. And this is all surrounded by eucalyptus now, but it would have been cork oaks as far as the eye can see back in the day. Olive tree, still a cork oak there, but yeah. So we're coming up to the first farm here. I'm not sure if anyone's actually living here. I don't think so. But the olive trees down here look pretty well manicured, so someone's taking care of it. So there's another settlement coming up down here. I don't think it's totally abandoned, but I don't think anyone's actually living here. But the land is taken care of, so someone's taking care of it. I'll show you around. Yeah, pretty sure no one's living here. An old mine of some kind? Not totally sure. It's got a big old chimney. So there's a lake down here, which in the winter is quite clean, but it's looking a little bit manky at the moment. It's quite cool, you can see little sparks on it. Little insects landing on it. Anyway, if it was clean I would go for a swim, but that doesn't look particularly appealing. Man, it's getting hot now. I should be home in, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. So I'm just walking along this track now, which is a pretty long straight track, which takes me to a little stream. I cross over the stream, walk down another track where I'll get to the bottom of my land, and I'll walk up through my land up to the house. Safe to say that this stream has totally dried up, but it won't be long until it starts raining again and everything goes green once more. Well, I'm about 5 minutes away from home now, and my gimbal has officially run out of battery. So I'm going to walk to the road, and then it's just a 1 minute walk up the road to get back home. And I'll show you my land another time when I've got charge back in the gimbal. Hello. Bad, bad. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you'd like to support this channel, I make felt hats. You might have enjoyed watching this felt hat through the video, and if you'd like to get one yourself, I make these hats myself. They're made from rabbit fur felt. They're very, very high quality, last you forever, and they're available on my Etsy store, which you can find if you go to my Instagram page, which is Salvador Mountain Hats, and follow the link in the description, and it'll take you to my Etsy store where you can buy these hats yourself. And it really helps me out and will mean that I can make more videos for you in the future. Thanks a lot.